A Q&A is something I've thought about doing on my channel, this channel, and also my gaming channel when I used to post to that in a long time. But I just always thought, I'm never going to get enough questions. I'm not that popular a YouTuber, so I just kind of put it off and never did it. But last Wednesday I put on my Instagram story announcing I was doing a Q&A. This is after someone replied to the story, a story previously, basically when I was asking for kind of ideas for future YouTube videos, what you wanted to see. Someone replied saying they'd like a Q&A, and I thought, you know what, a few more people know about the channel now, so I'll do one. So yeah, I put it up last Wednesday asking you guys. I've put numerous posts on ever since asking for questions, and I got quite a lot. Like, let me just check, how many questions did I actually get? 18 questions! I've got to do 18 questions in one video. Wow, we could be here for a bit. Anyway, 18 questions, one video, let's go. Hello everybody and welcome back to ThrillNet, and welcome to my first ever Q&A video where I have given you guys a chance to ask me some questions, your opportunity to get a shout out in a video, to find out a bit more about kind of me, who I am, sort of what I like in terms of theme parks in particular. However, I didn't specify it had to be just theme park related. We've got the odd question that isn't theme park related. The majority of them are, as I would expect, and it's kind of a good job because theme parks are a big part of my life. And if I had a lot of questions not about theme parks, they'd probably be more difficult for me to answer. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to answering some of these questions and sharing my thoughts actually, because there's some quite topical ones. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the bell to enable notifications so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. I've got lots coming up. I'm going to be doing a big announcement in a couple of weeks, announcing some stuff I'm going to be doing over the summer, because some things are going to be changing and there's some new things going to be coming to the channel that I'm really looking forward to getting started that I haven't spoken a word about yet. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So the first question then comes from one of my best friends, one of the first people I got to know in this community, and that is Theme Park Mad, my friend Josh. Theme Park Mad consists of both Josh and his sister Danielle, but Josh runs the account, and he said, opinions on Passage del Terror. Josh, shut up mate, you know I don't like scare mazes and don't want to do one. I've never done a scare maze in my life. I've never done Passage del Terror, so I'm not a scare maze expert, and I'm not an expert on Passage del Terror. I mean, I can't even cope with a creeper blowing up in Minecraft, let alone going in a scare maze.
I didn't know that was going to happen. Was that a creeper? Right, I'm getting out of here.
But yeah, on a serious note, from POVs I've watched, you're not allowed to film in there, but some people have managed to sneak cameras in there and film, and others have done like audio recordings of kind of what goes on in there to give you kind of a rough idea, and uploaded them to YouTube and stuff. I know Scare Track did one, a Scare Maze podcast, or Scare Attraction podcast, as I say, did one. And it seems like a good attraction, to be honest, on a serious note. It seems like a good introduction attraction. It doesn't seem too scary on the grand scheme of things. It doesn't seem too scary, but it seems like there's a lot of jump scares in that maze, which seems interesting. If you don't know, it's based on a lot of different horror movies. It kind of takes you through the different horror movies, but saying that, it seems to all link together quite well into kind of one story. There doesn't seem to be like any kind of major kind of jumps between different things. It does seem to flow quite well, and I reckon that's something that they've worked on for quite a while. So it does seem really good. But yeah, I mean, you're not going to get me in there anytime soon. I feel like we're going to have a ThrillNet meetup or at some point where a load of people turn up and convince me to go in a scare attraction or something to get me to go in one. I feel like that needs to happen. You know what? All of you come to Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Come to Pleasure Beach, everyone, and try and get me in Passage del Terror. I challenge you to do that. And trust me, it's not going to be easy, but go on, I challenge you to do that. But yeah, so the next 4 questions, and credits to this guy for sending in so many questions and helping me out so much, come from CoasterThrottle. So his first question that he's asked, go and follow him. He's a new page. I think he's quite new to the theme park community. Not someone I know that well, but go and follow him. I should note that you probably noticed for Theme Park Mad's question as well, I'm putting all the Instagram names of these people or accounts because all these questions are from Instagram. I'm putting them above the question stickers, which I'm showing on screen as well, and any messages, because some people replied to it directly through messages rather than typing in the question sticker, which is fine. But his first question is favourite themed area. It's a no-brainer really. I mean, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, like the theming in that area is so amazing, like literally. I mean, Avatar, you know, Pandora the World of Avatar is a kind of contender for that, but Star Wars Galaxy's Edge just takes it to another level for me, especially with me liking Star Wars quite a bit. I really like that area and it's really immersive. Diagon Alley, Wizarding World of Harry Potter is also a contender, but for me Star Wars Galaxy's Edge takes it really. I should mention that that's at Disney's Hollywood Studios at Walt Disney World. Pandora, the World of Avatars at Disney's Animal Kingdom, Walt Disney World, and then Wizarding World of Harry Potter is Universal Orlando Resorts in Florida. But yeah, I mean, Florida's got a lot of really good themed areas. Next he asked rarest credit. Now, rarest coaster credit. I'm guessing you mean the one that people have ridden the least. Like sort of the one that people have ridden the least. It's quite difficult actually, but one that springs to mind is, I think it's called the Green Dragon, I think the coaster's called. I really didn't do my research before this video, apologies for that, but it's in North Wales and it's at a park. Well, it's not a theme park, but it's like a standard park. I don't know what you call them. You probably know what I mean. And it's got a few like attractions, like slides and stuff there. Other activities, I believe it's got some pedalos from what I remember. It's called Greenwood Forest, I believe, in North Wales. And it's technically like a human-powered coaster, so the coaster's at the top and goes down a layout. It's kind of a junior/family coaster, and then at the bottom it gets to this piece of track, and then what you have to do is you climb up a hill and you get to the top, and there's this like lift gondola thing at the top, and what everyone does is you stand in that and that moves down, but it's kind of attached to like the track, so as that moves down it pulls the track up, and then obviously when you kind of leave it because of weight distribution, the track goes down and the lift/gondola thing goes back to the top for the next set of people, and then after you go on that you climb up another hill, and at the top of that hill is where the coaster station is. It's a really cool coaster actually, quite tame compared to a lot of the coasters I've been on now, but I remember when I was like 6 or something and going out to Wales and riding that, I did really enjoy it. But yeah, his next question is my least favourite coaster. Oh, that's a difficult one as well. I've ridden a few bad coasters that I'd consider bad. Most of the coasters I class as bad are because they're rough. But I mean, Hero at Flamingo Land is a really rough coaster, or it's uncomfortable anyway. I'd say more uncomfortable than rough, but yeah, it's not nice the way you're led down in there. But maybe I'll do a Hero review one day and talk about that in more detail. The Ultimate at Lightwater Valley, as much as it's a unique roller coaster, it's quite rough in terms of laterals on the corners. It's quite brutal, but it is unique, so I'll give it credit for that. But I'd say the roughest coaster I've ridden, the least unique, you know, in terms of my worst coaster, would probably be Infusion at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, because it's awfully rough. Like, the final 2 inline twists are absolutely brutal, and it's a standard layout Vekoma SLC, so there's about 30 of them all over the world. So yeah, for that reason I'd say Infusion's the worst coaster I've ridden. It does look nice off ride, in terms of it being over water. You know, I looked at it before I rode it and thought this is probably going to be a good coaster, but I didn't know how bad Vekoma SLCs were at that point. And yeah, it's safe to say I got a surprise when I rode it. But yeah, Infusion, I'd say, is the worst roller coaster that I've ridden. This final question then is my most anticipated US park, and that's a no-brainer really. Cedar Point in Ohio looks absolutely amazing. I believe it's got the most roller coasters in the world from what I remember, 17 roller coasters. It's a very coaster heavy park, and as much as I'm a theme park enthusiast, my favourite type of ride by far is a coaster. So definitely Cedar Point. You know, it's practically the coaster capital of the world, so I mean, what other US park could top that? I don't know. But yeah, for me, Cedar Point is probably my most anticipated US park, to be honest. But thank you for your questions, CoasterThrottle. Futuki asks, RMC at Alton Towers in 2012. I'm guessing you mean 2022. Yeah, this is from my friend Finley, who I've spoken to a bit. First spoke to a few weeks ago. But yeah, he asked whether an RMC is going to be at Alton Towers in 2022. Are we going to get one in 2022? Well, with the current situation, I think that's incredibly ambitious. Highly unlikely we'll be getting an RMC in 2022. I just don't think Alton Towers are going to have the money to kind of do that in time. Coaster takes time to make, and especially with RMCs being quite wood based in terms of they're mainly wooden coasters really, with a bit of steel, which makes them a hybrid coaster. Wooden coasters always take longer to build than steel coasters just because of the additional supports they have. So when they do construct that, I mean, it's going to take a while. I mean, if you think back to Wicker Man and Icon they literally built in like 3 months. Whereas Wicker Man, even though it's a shorter ride, it literally took nearly a year to build, and that's because wooden coasters take so much longer. You know, that's why we saw like Wicker Man like practically nearly done before Icon did even started work on it. But yeah, in terms of an RMC at all at Alton Towers, I'm not sure. I don't think it's a move we should make next. RMCs are quite expensive. One reason I don't think they should make this move is because, or I don't think they will, sorry, is because obviously Alton Towers are restricted to building above tree level, or so say below tree level, and RMCs are typically quite large coasters, so they'd have to dig down a lot like they did for Nemesis for it, so it'd be that'd add to how expensive it is even more. And obviously they're not going to have the greatest amount of money at the moment with the situation we're in. So yeah, it's unlikely. I mean, the other option they could do is, I guess, have a 2 lift hill coaster like Smiler and have the ride be a bit smaller in height. But I mean, yeah, and then yeah, I just don't think it's the right move for them either. I think Alton Towers would be better off really with like a water coaster or something, with them removing the flume for Wicker Man, or something like an Intamin Blitz would work well for them, because that could be built quite close to the ground, which means they have to like dig up kind of less ground, dig down less to build the coaster, which would help reduce the cost. But yeah, I think really an RMC is not the most likely coaster to be added to Alton Towers next, to be honest, in my opinion. But yeah, very good question. So the next 2 questions, which are actually really good questions, come from Ellis Grayson. Yeah, I've spoken to him a few times as well, so go and follow him. I believe he's doing a lot of music sort of stuff at the moment. He used to be a theme park YouTuber, but I don't believe he does YouTube anymore, but he's doing a lot of music stuff, so if that's your sort of thing, definitely go and give him a follow. I'll put his Instagram name at the top of the question sticker, which you'll see on screen now. And his question is, do you think theme parks are reopening too early? Well, this is an interesting one and probably quite a controversial one amongst many enthusiasts. It's kind of difficult to say. We all want theme parks to reopen. You know, enthusiasts want them to reopen so they can get back to them, get on the roller coasters, obviously. But I'm going to look at it as if whether I think they're opening too early is in the virus spreading and stuff like that, and there being a second wave potentially. And the answer to that is yeah, I do think they're opening too early. I think the government are kind of lifting the restrictions too quickly. You know, there's reports of the R number having gone above 1 in parts of the UK, and you know, if it's above 1, that means the virus is potentially spreading to more than one person per person who has it. And if it's above 1, then I mean a second wave is quite likely. So for them to go and reopen theme parks, which although they're going to put measures in place like, you know, reducing the capacity and stuff like that, social distancing, etc., you know, it's very contagious, this virus, and as much as these will probably likely help reduce the spread, or they definitely will help reduce it, you know, it's so contagious, people are still likely to catch it. You know, if there's, I'm going to say now, I think the theme parks have dealt with this really well. From what I've seen, like, from people videoing, that, like, the Alton Towers gardens opening days, where they've allowed people in to explore parts of the park, it seems that they really are ready with measures in place to open. Obviously, we've heard about all the measures as well, because the parks have released statements on their websites and stuff, so make sure you go and check those out before you visit. But say there's a flaw in one of these, and you know, people pass it on to each other, you know, because of a flaw or whatever, because you know, with it being so contagious, it's going to be really hard to control the virus if parks reopen, no matter what. You know, if it starts spreading, yeah, you know, a second wave is likely. You know, we need to get the economy moving, but I do think they're opening a bit early and things are happening a bit too quick. And you know, it sounds like that scientists are kind of agreeing with that. Like, I'm not an expert on this, I'm just giving my opinion from what I've heard. I'm nowhere near an expert on politics or science in terms of this, so don't take my word for it. But I think a more realistic date for theme parks reopening for safety and that would be kind of end of July, early August for me. You know, let some of the other, see what happens with some of the other measures before going to that extreme and opening up, you know, such popular tourist attractions, even though they're going to have reduced capacity. But it's a difficult one. There's no easy way out of this, because you know, the longer they're closed, the more the economy is going to suffer. But then if they reopen too early and there's a second wave and we have to go back into lockdown or whatever, the economy is probably more than likely going to be hit even harder. I mean, it's understandable why we want to get things back open. Like, the economy's shrunk by 20.4%, I believe it is. I believe that's what it is. But, you know, and sorry guys, there's a dog in the background. But if they open too early and we have to go back into lockdown, they're going to have to close again anyway. And if there's another wave, and you know, with another wave of the virus again, they're going to be likely have to be closed even longer than they would if we kind of delayed their reopening by a month. So if anything, the economy's just going to get hit even harder. But yeah, it's a really difficult one, this. You know, we don't know if people can, you know, we don't know if you're even immune to the virus once you caught it yet. There's still a lot of potential for it to spread, so we really do need to be careful. But, you know, the government does what they does. You know, I'm not blaming the parks for this. The government have decided to do what they're doing. Whether it's right or not's a different story, because, I mean, let's be honest, I think we all lose hope in the government sometimes. Boris, whether you like him or not, has said the hospitality industry is reopening on the 4th of July. Theme parks are part of the hospitality industry, so yeah. And I kind of feel sorry for the parks, because I feel like, that it's like a race against each other who opens. They're under a lot of pressure at the moment, because safety's always paramount at theme parks, but in the midst of a pandemic, that's another level. So I really do feel sorry for the parks, but well done. I just want to say well done to the parks, because from what I've read and what I've heard, they've really been thinking about it, and I think work's clearly been going on throughout the lockdown to make sure that they're as safe as possible for reopening. But yeah, thank you for your question. Really good question. So the next question from Ellis Grayson is, and this is one I have very strong opinions about, just to pre-warn you, is: do you think Icon was a worthwhile investment for Pleasure Beach, and why? Yes, I do think Icon was a worthwhile investment, which may be biased because it's my #1 coaster, but I'm going to talk about why it's a worthwhile investment, some of that of which links to why I rate it so highly. Icon is unique, and as much as visitor numbers at the Pleasure Beach may not show this in its opening year, it's a unique experience that there's nothing like in the UK. I mean, where else in the UK can you find a launch coaster with inversions that you experience with a lap bar? You can't. That's it, because there's no other coaster like it in the UK. A double launch coaster, with inversions, with a lap bar, with a reasonable amount of airtime. It's brilliant. And when I've been to Pleasure Beach, Icon always gets a queue. It obviously moves the queue very quickly, but it's always one of the rides that gets a big queue, and that just shows the general public, or, well, apologies for using that term, non-enthusiasts, really like it. I always hear people kind of around Icon raving about how good it is, non-enthusiasts who are visiting, saying it's the best ride at the park, and you hear it on the ride as well. You'll go into the brake run, that's the best, this is the best ride on park, and a lot of us enthusiasts agree with that. I think it's something that's gone down really well with the general public and enthusiasts. In terms of visitor numbers, I know that, or I'm aware that, I believe they did fall in 2018 compared to 2017, which is a bit worrying when a new ride's just opened. However, in 2018 up in the north, up here, we had a lot of problems with the Northern Rail train strikes, and there is a train station right near Blackpool Pleasure Beach, so I mean, it's safe to say, especially with a lot of younger people visiting the park, a lot of younger people visit Pleasure Beach, they might not be able to have got to the park, so people who wanted to ride Icon and could have potentially ridden Icon and gone to the park wouldn't have been able to. So and another thing to reinforce this is I believe visitor numbers in all of Blackpool's attractions dropped. It wasn't just Pleasure Beach, so that kind of reinforces the train station idea. There's another train station near enough Pleasure Beach as well that's a bit further away, so like the Blackpool Towers stuff, their numbers all fell in 2018 as well. So yeah, I think we can say that the train strikes had a part to play in that. But yeah, I definitely think Icon was a worthwhile investment for Pleasure Beach, and I think that it was the right part to have that type of riding as well. Blackpool has so many old wooden coasters, 4 wooden coasters, unless you count Grand National as 2 creds, which, I mean, it's technically 1 loop, so, I mean, I class it as 1 cred, but that's whole other debate. I really do think Icon's a worthwhile investment. It's a new modern coaster, and Blackpool doesn't have many modern coasters, really, at all. Even the big one is a bit of a retro coaster. I don't even know if that's a proper term, retro coaster now. It's 26 years old this year. But yeah, definitely a worthwhile investment, and thank you for your question. So the next question comes from Mabsy, and she has asked, how do you get so cool? Hannah is someone I met in this community in the past few weeks, and yeah, she's a really good friend of mine, and that's such a nice question. I don't know how to answer that. But yeah, well, okay, right, let me explain a second. I mean, I guess this is quite a topical question. How do I get so cool? Well, little do you know, I've actually been building a machine for that recently. You know, it's been quite muggy in the UK recently, so I thought I'd turn this stereo over here into a cooling machine to cool me down because, you know, I'm missing Valhalla and stuff, and, you know, it's been too warm lately. I need to get cool. So, you know, I've kind of transformed the speakers into like things that blast out like cold air and make it all cold and stuff. And I've kind of put the globe on top. You've always seen it on there, but I think it like looks quite a good like cooling machine because, you know, you've got the globe on there and it kind of, the Arctic's on the globe and the Arctic's really cold. So yeah, I'll just show you how this works then, shall I? So then let's take a look at my new machine inspired by Blackpool Pleasure Beach to make me cool then, shall we? So what we've got here, we've got the stereo. If we press this power button, whoa, wow, this is getting cold. Oh my words, wow, wow, I feel so much better. Whew, oh, that's cold. Oh no, oh, it's getting pretty cold, oh my word.
5 minutes later.
Right, I'm starting to think this is getting really cold now. Oh my word, it's getting a bit too cold. Oh no.
Seems that Ben has died of hypothermia. Well, it's his own fault for using that new machine to cool himself down. Idiot. What an idiot. But I should probably revive him.
Whew. That was a bit too cold. Yeah, that was a bit over the top. I didn't intend for it to do that. Yeah. Thanks for your question, Hannah. Because yeah. Theme Park UK girl wants to know what merch pins I have. I actually have a lot of pin badges. Too many to show you in this video, but I do have some Blackpool Pleasure Beach ones, Alton Towers, and I have a lot of Florida ones as well. There's too many to show you in this video. I'd have to do a whole nother video doing that. But I'll show you a couple in this video and I'll show you inside the bag. They're all in a Walt Disney World bag and I've not really taken them out since I went. But I've got an icon one here, so there you go. And another one I've got is a Big Dipper one as well. And I'll just show you inside the bag quickly so you can see. So there you go, there's all the pin badges. You probably can't really see them, as you can see there's a lot of them. So yeah. So hope that gave you a good idea of what pin badges I have. You probably couldn't really see inside the bag properly. It was hard to adjust the camera because it's kind of a small bag, but there's a lot of pins in there. But yeah, there's a lot for me to get out and show you. I'd have to do a whole new video sort of going through them. So I may do that in the future. Comment down below or message me on Instagram or whatever if you'd like to see that. And I might do a video about my different pin badges. But I've shown you in previous videos before. I've shown quite a few in previous videos, but yeah, on to the next question. So our next two questions come from Everything Thorpe Park. These are from Kirsten from Everything Thorpe Park. Go and follow her. She's a really nice person who I've been talking to recently. She does lots of, or posts lots of good theme park ride photos, especially from Thorpe Park, hence the name. She also does the Everything Thorpe Park podcast, which is a really good podcast you can go and check out. And she also does theme park enthusiast Zoom calls, so you can basically go on video calls and talk to her and other enthusiasts. So yeah, she does a lot for the community, so definitely go and check her out. First question she's asked is, what is my number one UK coaster? Do I really need to answer that? Do I really need to answer that? Do I really? Icon. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, I mean, I said everything good I could say about that ride before. Icon, brilliant coaster, lots of airtime, or reasonable amount anyway. Good inversions, and the lap bar really makes it because your head doesn't get bashed against the restraint on the inversions because there's no over-the-shoulder harnesses. So yeah, inversions are very different with a lap bar than they are with an over-the-shoulder harness. She's also asked what's my favourite piece of theme park merch. Well, it happens to be this Valhalla shield, which I got recently, and I showed it in a recent video. Yeah, this is Valhalla shield, and I'll move back so you can see it a bit more. It's my favourite piece of merch. Yeah, it's very heavy, so I mean that's my exercise for today, lifting that up. But yeah, this Valhalla shield from one of the old Valhalla boats on Valhalla. They're selling a lot of these at the moment. I'm guessing that we're getting new boats for Valhalla if they're selling these, because these used to be on the boats. But yeah, it's no surprise that you used to get really wet on Valhalla because the boats used to fill up with water. Because, I mean, these things are so heavy, I'm not even kidding, they're massive, like so heavy. So yeah, it's no surprise like the boats were getting full of water. But yeah, that's my favourite piece of theme park merch. Thank you for your questions, Kirsten. Keelan Born 17 asks, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but yeah, if you could say anything to Ben in the past starting his YouTube channel, what would you say? I should mention, for those of you who don't know, my name is Ben, that's my real name. I'm guessing a lot of you knew that, who've like followed me regularly, watched my videos regularly and stuff. But yeah, Keelan's another of my friends who I met quite recently. I've been talking to recently. But yeah, what could I say to Ben in the past? Well,
Hello everybody and welcome to the official first video on Agent B Vlogs. And yeah, we're just going to be vlogging the rides we go on and give our reviews of them. If there's other people who come along it, you'll be seeing more than just me in these videos.
but that didn't happen because I didn't interact with the community at all, or do any research or anything, and just didn't take enough, or pay enough attention to my social media. I was all focused on my YouTube channel and getting views and stuff. But with content and stuff, I was just digging in the dark. I didn't go onto social media, you know, go and support any smaller accounts or anything. And it's difficult when you start out because you don't always know about these accounts. It's much easier when you find out about one or two, because it's easy to then find out like who they're following, and then that's how you find out about other accounts. But yeah, if I'd done that sooner and kind of paid more attention to my social media, which is only really something I started doing a year ago, you know, found out about other YouTubers and stuff, which was through someone else's video who I happened to be watching, who I found out about a few, and then one thing led to another. You know, you started talking to people and that, interacting with those people, you know, gaining my following, and then, you know, like I said, it does become easier because then you find out other people through them, and then people through them, etc, etc. But I should have put more effort into that sooner, and that's the one thing I wish I did when starting my YouTube channel, you know, because then I would have met people sooner. You know, I don't have a lot of friends outside of this community, if any really, who I speak to regularly anymore. And I met so many friends through this community, you know, even people who I met through like the last month, like, you know, the last few weeks, you know, people who've had questions answered that they've sent in to ask me in this video. You know, Josh from Theme Park Maz, you know, Hannah, Kirsten from Everything Fort Park, Keelan, Finley, you know, all these people. But on the other hand, I'm looking forward to, you know, the memories I might make with these people in the future. You know, I look forward to what the future holds with me in the theme park community. You know, hopefully getting some more people in some videos. Yeah, and collabs and stuff like that. And I'm not going to give anything away, but there may well be a collab happening soon. You'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I just wish I'd done more of that really, because I feel like then, you know, I would have kind of made friends quicker and got more friends, and it would have helped out my channel as well. But as I've said before, I don't do this for subscribers. My subscribers aren't just a number, you know, they're people who, a lot of which I'm quite close with. But yeah, thanks for your question, Keelan, that was a really good one. And the next 4 questions, I know you've sent in a lot of questions as well, come from Billy Bates 72. First thing he's asked is, what's my favourite theme park? It's got to be Disney's Hollywood Studios, hasn't it? for Star Wars: Rise of Resistance. But more about that in the next question. And also the whole of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in general, really. I just love that area, and especially Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, so that's why it's my favourite part. So next question, favourite ride? Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. I usually take coasters over dark rides, but this dark ride is incredible. The use of screens, special effects, it's just the most advanced dark ride in the world, you know. Trackless dark rides, got a drop track, it's just incredible. I can talk about that ride all day, but to sum it up, it's a really good experience, I'll call it, without ruining it too much, with a brilliant trackless dark ride finale. But yeah, next is asked, what's my favourite film? Not so much theme park related, this one, but I don't know whether you call this a film, but the Pleasure Beach documentary, that's more a TV series really, but I really enjoy the Pleasure Beach documentary. It's the 1997 one, summer 1997. I put a link in the top right, in the card to the first episode of that, so you can go and watch it, because I believe the channel that's uploaded, that's also uploaded all the other episodes, so you'll be able to find them on there. But yeah, and then favourite TV show. Gotta be honest, I don't watch TV at all. I'm not even joking when I say this, I do not watch TV. But it's got, well, since I was a child anyway, so probably, well really when I was a child, I like Horrid Henry and stuff like that. But yeah, can't really answer that question to be honest, because I don't watch TV, I'm too busy watching YouTube, finding out about new theme parks. But yeah, thank you for your questions. And the final question then comes from Theme Park TV. Go and check him out on Instagram. He's another person who has a YouTube channel. So yeah, definitely go and check him out, give him some support. And he's asked, favourite ride manufacturer. What's my favourite ride manufacturer? Well, I'd say Mack Rides, because Icon is my #1 coaster, as I mentioned before when answering Kirsten's question, and Blue Fire, which is also a Mack launch coaster. It's not multi-launched, Icon's multi-launched. That's my #3 coaster, so I'd say Mack Rides, because of those coasters, and a lot of other Mack coasters I've ridden and really enjoy as well and rate really highly, like Euromere, the Mack spinning coaster at Europa Park, and I really do look forward to Storm Chaser after having enjoyed that as well. After having enjoyed Euromere so much, and that's due to come to Paulton's Park in 2021 now. It was 2020, but it's been delayed due to the current situation, which we all know what that is. But yeah, B&M's a close contender in second place, because I do really like the Hulk, Incredible Hulk coaster at Universal Islands of Adventure's my #2 coaster. Silver Star at Europa Park's my #4 coaster, and Nemesis at Alton Towers is a really good ride as well. But yeah, overall, because generally I rate sort of the Mack launch coaster so highly, Mack just about steals it by literally an inch. But yeah, there's practically nothing in it, because it's hard, because I've ridden more B&M coasters than Mack coasters really, so it's hard. But making the assumption that I enjoy Mack coasters and will enjoy the other ones I'm due to ride in the future, or hope to ride in the future so much, I'm gonna give it to Mack. But yeah, thank you for all your questions. I really enjoyed reading these as you sent them in, and answering them in this video as well. I may do another Q&A in the future. Make sure you comment down below if you enjoyed this one or want me to do one in the future, or of course drop me a message on Instagram, or I do have Twitter as well, link in the description, and the name is on the end cards at agentb_13. If you don't follow me on Instagram yet, it's ThrillNet_, or the link is in the description as well, and also it's on the end card as well. But yeah, thank you for watching. As I said, make sure you subscribe and enable notifications, and I'll see you next time.